I want to say it's rare that I get the same collective coming in twice in the same week. So again, I have with me today the energy of the Divine Collective who was with us on Monday, and they wanted to discuss the simplicity of healing. And I'm really excited about that, and I hope you'll stick around and hear what they have to say. I want to welcome you guys today. We're just gonna get things up here. Yeah, lots of things happening on this planet today. If you find yourself getting unexpected headaches, feeling weak, tired, fatigued, feeling emotionally imbalanced, there's nothing wrong with you. Please understand there's nothing wrong with you. There's a process that humanity is undergoing. In fact, this whole planet is undergoing this energetic transformation. It's really important you come to an understanding of that. And one of the reasons why they decided to come through today was for that purpose, that understanding the simplicity of healing, that there are very precise functions that you have at your disposal as individuals and as a collective, that you have at your disposal in order to effect transformation and healing. Healing is not ameliorating the process of suffering, it's establishing a process of creation and understanding that you have a very natural ability to affect the body in such a fashion as that it can repair and correct itself. As equally, you have the same process available to you in relationship to your thoughts, your memories, and your emotions. If you understand this simple concept and the way to apply a simple method for dealing with the body, for dealing with your mind and emotions, and cultivate the experiential exposure you require to understand it. You need to expose yourself to experience that gives you the understanding of what we're saying, not simply just take what we're saying as the truth, but to actually apply some fundamental and simple methods towards your mind, towards your emotions, and towards your body. That body was given to you not simply to be something that carries you around through life, but something that you utilize as a mechanism for functioning through. You live through it. You live through the organism you call your body. And your body is a separate and distinct organism. It is separate from you in the sense that it follows your instruction and direction on request. It follows your instruction and direction on request. On a very simple level, you see this occur when you get your body to walk, or you get your body to talk, or you get your body to pick up water or to make food. Your body follows your instructions. It is designed specifically to follow your instructions. That is true not only on the more obvious levels of the external movements and extremities moving under your direction, but it is also true for the internal, what you call, or what your science calls, autonomic functions of the body, where your body has built into it a primary system, a default system that allows it to repair and correct, to integrate, process, and transform and transmute substance from one state into another to optimize the efficient functioning of the body that you're in. But these functions are under your authority too, to varying degrees. You may increase or decrease the degrees of authority you have over the functions, what you call autonomic functions of the body. You may increase or decrease your autonomy over these functions. For those of you that choose to just accept the fact that the body, when you cut it, will repair itself, then the default system will naturally do that. For those of you that understand that you can stimulate the repairing and corrective faculties of the internal system to work differently than they do by default, then you in turn would gain experience that would let you know you can direct the body to heal quicker and easier. Your body is designed to follow your instructions, both externally and internally. But what many of you struggle with is the responsibility that comes with being able to do that. It takes a significant amount of time and effort in the beginning to assume the level of authority and concentration and control over the autonomic systems so as not to put yourself in jeopardy or to throw the system out of balance through lack of understanding. You would simply start off with very simple things like learning how to oxygenate the blood at a higher level. For many of you now struggle with dis-ease because you do not understand the faculty of breathing, how to direct your body to breathe. The function of healing is very simplistic. When it is under your direction and you understand, then it becomes even simpler and requires less effort on your part to effect transformation and change. But the simple act of oxygenating your blood through the utilization of your breath is the most fundamental principle to provide certain elements for the body to correct and repair a little quicker. The act of breathing. Your medical sciences understand this already, that by applying a purer form of oxygen to the body, that they can alter and change its function, enhance and improve certain things. They understand this. But what they do not understand is that by the way of your own utilization of breath, you yourself can increase the saturation levels of oxygen in your bloodstream, thereby producing a more prominent healing response in the system. That is at the most simplistic level, where you can simply increase the oxygen levels in your own body by training your body how to breathe. But many of you spend months or years, decades, lifetimes even, never ever assuming proper authority over that function alone. Degenerative conditions occur when there is no utilization of certain functions. If you were to simply clench your hand and not open your fingers for several weeks, you'd have great difficulty doing so in several weeks. Well, the same is true for every nerve and organ and gland in the form that you are currently utilizing in the lifetime that you're experiencing as you are experiencing it. But the act of deliberate and meticulous breathing, that very act of deliberate and meticulous breathing, trains oxygen levels to alter and change in the body. There are other functions in the body that are connected to that likewise will be affected. At the point where you understand how to bring more oxygen into the body, you are able to develop that faculty. You will see great change. There are numerous individuals that we have worked with and through, this one here being one of them, that has discovered that the educational process of training people to breathe can affect profound alterations in their physiological conditions, and even what you would call the medically diagnosed conditions of their bodies have been proven to go through specific changes. While respecting and honoring your own process, you gain valuable experience. But the simple act of beginning to breathe your body is beginning to assert an authority over the healing mechanism of the body, where it is now coming under your deliberate and intentional direction, that you can simply breathe gently and easily, fully and deeply, faster or slower, and literally alter the oxygen levels in your body. You can correct and repair tissue in your body through that process of deliberate and intentional and meticulous breathing. It is simply what happens. Movement is the most dynamic concept of all creation. Movement is the most dynamic things of all creation. That all things need to move in some way, shape, or form. Even the mountains need to move. Well, so too does every cell, every nerve, every organ, every gland in the body that you find yourself existing through at this time. It too requires movement. Now you can impede and you can enhance the functions by what you do to the body and with the body. You can impede its functions or you can enhance its functions. We've just simply given one little example of how you can enhance the oxygen levels in your body to induce and stimulate natural healing as a consequence of your own interaction with your very instrument that you're inhabiting right now, with that body that you're in right now. The act of has a profound effect at stimulating the healing process in your body. And that too is connected, as we said earlier, to other elements of healing in the body. But that is just one area of simple healing that you can begin a process of exploring and experiencing and understanding. You can just go into that process of becoming so acute that you can actually feel the changes in the oxygen moving into the blood from the lungs. You can actually experience the oxygen moving into your blood from the lungs. You can experience that, become aware of that. And in becoming so attuned to such subtleties of the body, you can identify what is needed. And the same principle applies to specific nerves and organs and glands, that there are levels of articulation between yourself and the body that you can cultivate so as to begin a process of simplistic healing, of being able to assert an authority over the body that you find yourself in that is based in practical experience. You may continue to defer your ability to alter and change your own conditions of matter to outside agencies. But if you look at the trends that we are observing over the last 300 years in the evolution of what you call your medicines, we see a greater degradation, a greater disempowerment as you tend to lean outside of yourself on understanding that which is already within you. But that is one facet. There is also many schools and teachings available in this world now that will enable you to understand exactly what we're saying and the simple nature of that, the very act of drawing your breath in to that body in very precise understanding and knowing ways. The mechanisms of thought would be the secondary area of consideration that we would have you examine with us at this time, that the area of thought has a profound and unique influence according to the nature of a particular thought or idea upon your physiology, that certain qualities of thought do indeed generate very precise movements and energy through what you call your system of brain. Thought enters the body. Science can measure when a thought is stimulated in the body, but the thought itself enters the body. The mechanism of your brain receives that thought and takes that thought and identifies the electrical energy of that thought and produces it. And your science can measure that certain areas of the brain are reacting or not reacting as a consequence of a quality of thought that is brought into the body. Likewise, too, memory and emotion work the same way. They're very interconnected, memory and emotion. But the very nature of thought, once it enters the body, once it is transmitted from the body, has very precise and specific effects according to the nature and quality of that particular thought, vibration, or energy. Now, thought, too, like your breathing, is something that you may acquire an authority over. In fact, even the realm of thought was designed by nature to be a mechanism for you to use, not something for you to be subservient to. As you gain an awareness or a re-awareness of the distinction between yourself as the one observing thought and the thought itself, you move yourself into a similar position that you can as that which is able to stop and say, I'm going to breathe this body. Then you also become likewise to the mind, where you are able to observe that I am the one that can observe thought. And from that perspective of observation of thought, you move yourself into the realm of being able to alter and change thought as an effect of your awareness interacting, altering and changing the realm of thought. Just as you can interact with and change the realm, the rhythm, the pattern, the intensity of your breathing to alter certain things in the body. Now, likewise, thoughts in your mind will produce an energy, and these energies will indeed factor into the equation of what will happen in your body. They can ameliorate, they can enhance, they can diminish conditions in your body by the nature and quality of certain thoughts. But in either case, whether it is over your breathing or over your thoughts, you by nature are designed to have authority over these. And again, many of you find yourself deferring the realm of authority over your own thoughts to allowing others to define and discern what thoughts you should or should not think. And that simply disempowers you. And again, we have observed over the last 300 years, we've observed particularly over the last 130 years, as your process of information dissemination has become quite unique, let us say, that more and more people are finding greater and greater dysfunction in their experience of this physical dimension rather than greater and greater enhancement in the conditions of their physical experience. While there are many exceptions to that, where there are those that are able to clearly demonstrate that through their thinking and their being, they can create wondrous and beautiful things, as noted by the manifestation of your physical cities. But that process of thought, if it is deferred to another, can be both good and detrimental, depending upon the nature and quality of the thoughts that are being offered to you from them. So we encourage you to be mindful of what you would receive from the world as thought, or what you would receive from the world as ideation, so that you can be very discerning about what thoughts and their impact will be on your health and your vitality and your consciousness. Understand, when you assume authority over thought, you begin to assume authority over a much more subtle element of your experiential creation, and that is emotion. Emotion, which is the movement of energy that is a direct result of certain qualities of thought, certain qualities of experience, move the substance of motion in your physical world and in the world around you. Again, we've observed over the last centuries how your evolution of thought has altered and changed the conditions of your existing civilization. Again, we point to the vast cities you've created. These are evolutions and expansions and extensions and cultivations of thought and greater thought still. So while there is great progress and evolution in the process of your deliberate and intentional thinking collectively, there is also great disturbance and great diminishment in vitality and health and unnecessary suffering, as we've observed. You have more than enough resources, when properly understood and utilized in this world, to sustain many more people than you currently understand. But your thinking and your believing prevent you from doing so, because you cannot do anything more than what you believe or think. But we came here to talk primarily about the simplicity of healing, and we hope that to this point we have illustrated that there are very simple mechanisms at your disposal that you must individually learn to become an authority over, to recognize that your thoughts and your body are mechanism instruments that you have to utilize to create, not simply to be subjective to. And that as you gain the experiential awareness that this is the case and this is the truth for you, then you begin to find what is freedom, what is creation, what is life, as a manifestation of intention and not an experience of chance or hope, but a deliberate effect of creation, which it is, irrespective of whether you are conscious of it or not. Even those things that you are creating in your mind that are not good for you are still an effect of creation. You cannot escape the responsibility that has been given to you to create. You cannot escape the responsibility that's been given to you to create through utilization of your thoughts and your physical organism. They are the two primary faculties that you have at your disposal, the instruments that you have available to you to learn the art and process of creation and have dominion over your world and the experiences that you have. It is a matter of choice, not a matter of chance. But even the simple act of your breath can begin to stimulate healing in your body. To recognize that you can do this, to become aware that you can experience the elevation of your body as an effect of your interaction with it. We would encourage you to also consider that there are certain substances that you may put in the body and certain substances that you may put in the body that will diminish the well-being of your body or enhance the well-being of your body. Every substance has its own energy, just as every thought in your own consciousness has its own energy. Every leaf, every tree, every bird, every flower, every molecule has its own unique energy. And these interactions of energy are ongoing at all times, but you may be deliberate in what you would allow to interact with that body as an energy. The food that you eat is an energy. It's an energy of life, or it is not an energy of life. It's an energy that lifts the body up, or it diminishes the body. And there are very many creatures upon this planet that for those things that would diminish your health, it would improve theirs. So the respective condition of your life relative to other life forms is different in that there are specific things for your biology that will allow you to thrive and survive from the perspective of your body. The most important of those elements, we would say, is water. The substance of water is one of the most important solutions outside your body you can begin to place in it. The quality and nature of that water will have a very specific effect on it. As you recognize too, and your sciences are now beginning to prove out that there are very specific things in your mind and your thoughts that will in fact affect the very things that you put in your body. You can affect water, you can affect food by the nature of thought, the nature of your breath. The authority that you have over conditions of time, space, and matter are barely being recognized at this time. The level of authority is far more reaching than many of you could ever hope to conceive of in this lifetime. But there are a few of you now that are beginning to understand this, that there is a range of influence that you have over the experience of creation that is far more profound, and that many of those who have come to teach you and instruct you in this fashion, many have come to say, you are this divine entity that can do great things and greater still. You are one with all that is. You are in an intimate relationship with creation that's quite profound. As easily as you may observe in your hands, in the movement of your hands, as easily as you may observe the direction you can have over your hands, so too the extension of that function goes well beyond the confines of your biology, in that you are able to affect great change in conditions of time, space, and matter around you. And your sciences, of course, are now proving that out. But please understand, we simply want to draw your attention back to the idea of the simplicity of healing, that the process of healing has a default setting in your biology that can be augmented or diminished by certain thoughts and certain things that you engage in physically, mentally, that you have the capacity to alter and change what you put in the body. You have the capacity to alter and change its functions, to assert an authority over it that would make you free from all concern of your vitality and your health. And in that process of your own evolution, you become an instructor to others by the very nature of your own well-being. You become that which others call forth. Now, the biological mechanism that you are in has certain restrictions in that you don't need it for a very long time, for each physical form that you have is specific to the evolutionary process and learning that you're in at this particular point in your consciousness, that you're gaining a certain understanding and knowledge of your existence and your capacity to create an existence. You're gaining that understanding. And once a certain understanding is surpassed, like a child in your school systems will go from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3, so too you will go from form to form until eventually it becomes unnecessary when you realize at some point that even the form is unnecessary for your existence to be. For your existence to be is eternal, whereas the conditions of body and mind, memory, and emotion are relatively finite in the process of ongoing transformation, but your awareness transcends certain conditions that matter cannot. We think that would be sufficient to at least get some of you considering the concept of healing, the simplicity of it, and understanding and recognizing that there are certain things that you can expose yourself to from outside yourself that can interact with your system and be a detriment to it. But know this, that if you understand the true nature of the authority with which we understand that you're capable of ascending to in consciousness, that even those things that can appear to be most detrimental to you in the environment, they too become amenable to the authority of your own creative mechanisms. And on that note, we shall end this short discussion with you on simplicity of healing. But we will be happy to take questions with regards to it. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful and a joyful day. Yes, who have we got here today? Hello, Marigold. Hello, Moran. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Drusilla. Drusilla's got a question. She's asking, is it a detriment to me to be watching information about the ascension and geopolitical situation? As we have already stated, what is most important is that you understand that what you allow into your mind and how you give attention to it, your concerns, your hopes, your desires around whatever is stimulated in your mind from that information. Ask yourself this question: will this information lift me up or will it diminish me? Does it have an energy to it that inspires and strengthens my condition and creation of experience? Does it make you stronger, more vibrant, more vital, inspired, curious? Or does it diminish you? For to listen to somebody complaining and being angry about something is one energy. To listen to somebody being excited and enthusiastic about something is another energy. Each thing that you allow into the domain of your own physical mind will have its effect upon your biology and your world. Be mindful what you will allow in through your ears and in through your eyes. Be mindful of these things. Wow. Thank you for that question, Drusilla. Question from Holly. I embarked on my path of awakening quite some time ago and have always relied on my intuition, yet I do not feel any of these ascension energies to matter, no matter how hard I try. Why is this? Well, we would simply say to this that you are in the process of asserting an effort to overcome an invisible obstacle. The moment you imply that you are placing an effort, such as the language and energy of trying, the language and energy of thought is very powerful. And from what you're telling us, this idea of you've been trying very hard, but the energy of trying does not often lead to completion. It simply leads to more trying. If you understand the energy of doing, it's very different than trying. The energy of knowing is different than being curious. They're very different. But what you're really asking is, how may I begin to experience the process of my own ascension? And we would simply say to you, learn to recognize the subtleties of how you use thought and its impact upon your energy and your perceptions of the world. Be mindful of how you place things into the body. Are they of good report? Do they uplift the consciousness of your body? For your ascension is not something you attain from the world. Your ascension is something you do. You ascend yourself. You climb the stairs of consciousness from simply being locked into the misunderstanding that you are simply a physical organism to the understanding that you are a mental consciousness, that you are an awareness that rises above that mental consciousness, and that you can begin to assert an authority over your own mind and your own body. Ascension is a function of your own will, not something to be determined by the external world. While the external world may or may not provide you with the necessary guidance that will allow you to elevate yourself up in an effective way, we do not see a lot of that happening on a very grand scale on this planet, where the information and knowledge that we're sharing with you now is not readily available to most, although it is out there for everyone to discover, but it is not offered to most. Many of your mechanisms do the opposite, seeking to keep people in fear and disempowerment. But if you seek, again, to understand your role in your own ascension, then we would encourage you to be very mindful of the thoughts, the substances that you place in that physical body. Become mindful of them. Practice the foundational aspects of utilizing your breath to alter and change functions within the body. Practice being very conscious of what thoughts come in, what thoughts you allow in, what thoughts you manifest in your own consciousness. Be mindful of their energy, for they will bear an influence on facilitating your ascension or diminishing it. And that facilitation is due in part to your awareness of what you will allow or what you will not allow. And if you're able to be mindful that I am doing this, I am raising my energy, I am raising it now, I'm raising it, I'll do so with my breath, I am doing this. If you go into that awareness and that energy, you'll have a very significant perceptual experience that will let you know the truth of it for yourself and not simply leave you in the realm of trying. Trying is a very difficult place for humans to be in. Doing is always preferable. Thank you for that super chat, Drusilla. Really appreciate it. Question from Drusilla. Can you tell me how to help my ex-husband? He's having a hard time. You must understand that this one is deeply ingrained in certain fundamental illusions that are like his truth. For you may believe a lie as equally as you may believe a truth, and both will have their own fruit to bear in the experience of your creation. But if this one is seeking to ameliorate his suffering, he must become aware of how it is he is contributing to its cause, or what is contributing to its cause, and go through a process of not indulging in those causes anymore. We have been delighted to see that many of you in the act of learning the simplicity of breathing alone, the act of breathing alone, watching you open your eye and awaken. Many of you recognize that the simple function of breathing can change what you feel in that body and what the body feels. And that is a function of your will directing the body to breathe. Just the simple act of breathing and becoming aware that you have authority, you have dominion over this temple, this house that you are living in through this physical dimension, that you have the capacity to do this. Likewise, he must also be willing to examine the realm of his thoughts and his concerns, for they also bear a weight onto the body. You cannot have a thought that does not add energy to the body. You cannot have a thought that does not subtract energy from the body. The body will either get better or it will get worse. The mind will either get better or get worse, not because there's anything fundamentally wrong with you or your body or your mind, but simply the mechanisms under which you are directing it, or in case of some of you, under which mechanisms you are being subjective. It can be very difficult sometimes to reestablish an objectivity that allows you to begin to effect a change over your own thoughts, and to remove from you anything that does not support the quality and nature of thoughts that you wish to see embodied in your world, in your life, both individually and collectively. Wow. Great question, Drusilla. Wonderful. How are we doing? Wonderful, guys. So listen, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the Divine Collective today for being present with us. I really enjoyed this immensely. And I want to thank all of you for showing up today. And please remember to give this video a thumbs up. Take a moment to share this information with other people. Remember, if you're new, subscribe. Click the notification bell. Share this information. If you want to know more about what we're doing, about mediumship, about how to connect to higher information in your own life, please go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, and check out some of the courses and events that we have going on. And patrons, thank you so much for your support. I look forward to seeing you guys on the 24th of this month, which is this Friday. We've got a really amazing event coming up then, so I hope you'll join us for that. You'll be hearing more about that over the next 24 hours. So for those of you that are familiar with the channel, I would love to see you guys on Friday, Shortcuts for Your Soul at 10 a.m. I want to wish you all much, much love. Have yourselves a wonderful and a joyful day. Bye for now.